morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to talk about Hisuian Typhlosion VSTAR, and the fact that free attacks are back in the Pokémon trading card game. Yeah, there's a lot of excitement going on in one go here. Like I told you in my previous video, unfortunately, as far as I'm concerned, the time for spoilers has passed. We've had this game for 3 weeks now. It's 3 weeks since release. And it's been a couple of days since Pokemon released the official stock artwork of these Pokemon. At this stage, I'm afraid they're out there, and the spoiler time for these particular Pokemon is over. If there is anyone that has been trying to avoid them and has seen them for the first time on this video and didn't want to, I apologise, but I hope you understand why we had to just kind of move forward. These cards are out there, we need to talk about them, that's kind of what we do. So, Hisuian Typhlosion V. We got 210 HP on the V, which is not quite on the higher end, but it's fairly standard. Retreat cost of 2 is not that bad. We've got a resistance to fighting, always nice to have a resistance. And we've got a weakness to darkness. Now this is bad for a couple of reasons. Firstly, it is sharing a weakness with Mew. And Mew's the best deck in the format right now. Everybody's gunning for Mew. That's not ideal. But also, there's a bunch of really good single strike stuff, which is darkness type, like Umbreon as an example, or Gengar. So it's not a great weakness to have, if I'm honest with you, ladies and gentlemen. I would rather have a different weakness. Unfortunately, we don't. The good news is you are a psychic Pokemon, so you do hit weakness on stuff like Urshifu, so at least we've got that, ladies and gentlemen. At least we've got that. And we've also got an attack that doesn't cost any energy. Now, I was having a look round, and the last time we actually saw free attacks was back in Cosmic Eclipse with Pokemon like Alolan Ninetales, which had a really nice zero energy attack. I kind of like that a lot. And Cosmic Eclipse is a fairly old set at this stage. That was the last Sun and Moon set. This is, well, the midpoint after the 9th Sword and Shield set, which is quite a bit later at this stage. You know, Cosmic Eclipse was our November set in 2019. That was over 2 years ago at this stage, so it's been a while, frankly, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a while. What does it do? Burn. That's it, incidentally. That's all it does. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now burned. While we're here, it's not a Pokemon we're going to get into in great detail in this particular video, but there is a new Pyroar in this set that's got the ability Scorching Aura. I should mention, if I haven't already, all of our translations come from the lovely Antoine Boulet, one of our very favourite people. And that means that your opponent's Pokemon takes 4 damage counters between turns from burn, rather than the usual 2. Remember, nowadays you take the burn, then you flip to see if you're not burned anymore. So maybe there's a combination here, but remember that Pyroar is a stage 1. It's going to take a turn to evolve it, so I don't know. I am reticent as to whether this is actually going to be any good. I like seeing attacks back that don't cost any energy. That makes me happy, but I think it's fair to say this might not be the best attack. But still, you can use it if you don't have any energy, and that's rather lovely. We've also got 2 Psychic, 1 Colourless Energy, Chilling Fire. Choose a random card from your opponent's hand. Your opponent reveals that card and shuffles it into their deck. It's alright. Like, it's not a good attack. I'm not arguing this is a good attack. It's not a great attack. But it 2-hit KOs basically any Pokemon V. And it'll 1-hit KO if they're weak. And there's a little bit of hand disruption going on. Certainly, if you can catch your opponent with 1 or 2 cards in hand, this is going to be absolutely brilliant, because it's going to really limit their options. So I don't hate this. I liked it a lot more when we had stuff like N, for instance. If that came back, I would like this a lot more. The idea of ending my opponent to 1 card in hand and then using this to get rid of that card, that would make me a lot happier. It's not an option, and that makes me a little bit sad. But it's there, ladies and gentlemen. It's there. And to be fair, it's not terrible. And you're a psychic Pokemon, so we've got stuff like Cresselia to accelerate energy, and we've got stuff like Shadow Rider Calyrex to accelerate energy, so we can get the energy on there, which ain't too bad. But then we move up to the VSTAR, which is really where we're aiming for here. This is the big boy. 260 is on the lower end for VSTAR. They tend to go like 250 to 280, so that is a little bit lower. Same other stats, weakness, retreat, cost resistance, all of that. And we get one main attack, as we tend to do, 2 psychic, 1 colorless energy, 180 damage, and you place 3 damage counters on your opponent's bench Pokemon in any way that you like. And this isn't bad. Now, we'll get to the VSTAR power in a minute. The damage counters are super relevant for that, but it's extra damage. And, you know, the extra damage here, those 3 damage counters, that's what we used to do on Mew. And I'm not saying that Mew was some kind of powerhouse attacker. It wasn't. But I'm saying that I use Psi Power on Mew a lot, and I won a bunch of games with it, and I'm willing to bet most of you did as well. As a bonus, it's quite nice. As for the main attack, I mean, we say this all the time, 180 is the lowest amount of damage we'll accept, because you're getting a one-hit KO on stuff like Crobat, on stuff like Kricketune, etc. 220 is what we're really looking for, that gets Pokemon V, but 180 is fine. And of course nowadays, because we've got that lovely Choice Belt card, 180 against Pokemon V, V-Star, etc. actually becomes 210, and although you'll be slightly short, 210 is a good number. There are a bunch with 220, but 210 is still a very good number. And then, of course, you go, well, you know, we'd like to hit 220. Wouldn't it be great if we could just do that extra 10 damage to KO any Pokemon V? And then you remember that actually Spooky Flame, love that attack name, lets you drop damage counters. So the reality is, you're going to be one-hit KOing Pokemon V with this. Even though 180 isn't enough, time you build in Choice Belt, and you build in the extra damage counters, you should be one-hit KOing Pokemon V with this, and that's generally what we're looking for. For VMAXs, for V-Star, what we're generally looking for is one-hit KO Pokemon V, 2-hit KO VMAXs. V-Star is this weird middle ground where some will, some won't. That's going to be interesting moving forward, but where we really want to be here is getting one-hit KOs on Pokemon V. And we are. We're getting a one-hit KO on pretty much any Pokemon V with a little bit of work, but not a hideous amount. And I like this very much indeed. But not as much as I like the V-Star power. Heat Haze Star. If your opponent has one single Psychic Energy, if your opponent's active Pokemon has exactly 4 damage counters on it, it's knocked out. Doesn't matter how much protection it's got unless it prevents effects of attacks. This isn't effective an attack, but unless it prevents effects of attacks, this is great. Doesn't matter how much HP they've got, how much they're reducing damage, how many tools they've got, or any of that rubbish. As long as they've got exactly 4 damage counters on, instant KO. And this should remind you of Evil Tau GX, because it is literally Evil Tau GX. In terms of this, Evil Tau GX had the once per game GX attack for 1 coloured energy that got a KO on an active Pokemon with exactly 4 damage counters on it, and this is your once per game V power or V star power for a single coloured energy that gets a 1-hit KO on an active Pokemon with exactly 4 damage counters on it. Make no mistake, this is Doom Count by a different name. And Doom Count was good. The thing is, Doom Count was on a basic Pokemon, so it was an absolutely phenomenal tech, because it was literally one single card you could pop in if you were playing either Darkness Energy or any energy that could count as Darkness, and it could just slip in there and be used. That's not where we are with Hisuian Typhlosion. You need to evolve it up. It is a stage 1. It is not quite so easy. However, we got Inteleon nowadays. And we've got Obstagoon and Galarian Zigzagoon. And that is going to help immensely. Because Inteleon drops 2 damage counters per Inteleon per turn. So if you've got 2 Inteleon out, then all you need to do here is use both the abilities, drop 4 damage counters, instant 1-hit KO on anything for a single energy. And you probably don't need me to tell you that an instant 1-hit KO on anything for a single energy is clearly ridiculous. If we go to Galarian Zigzagoon, that drops 1 damage counter, admittedly not perfect. But we then evolve up into Galarian Obstagoon, and Galarian Obstagoon drops 3 damage counters when you evolve up into it. And I don't think you need to be a maths whiz to know that 1 plus 3 is 4. And the numbers work out perfectly here. If you want to make this work, you can. I do think Inteleon is the way to go here, because we all know Inteleon decks are great. And if you're playing an Inteleon deck, this is a 2-card tech which I think is worth it. Now, it is awkward that it's a coloured energy, and it's awkward that you've got to evolve into it. I understand all of that. But it is a single energy that gets a 1-hit KO on any Pokemon whatsoever. 2 or 3 prizes. I mean, it's got to be done, surely. Play a couple of Aurora energy or something like that. Some energy that can count as others. And go from there. I am a big fan of this one. I don't mind the first attack. The first attack is fine. I do think it takes a little bit of work, but I think it can work. But in any deck where you're playing Psychic Energy, you have got to at least strongly consider playing a 1-1 line of this card. Because anytime there is a Pokemon you cannot deal with, just do 4 damage or 40 damage and then KO. And it doesn't need to be something like Inteleon. It can just be using some basic evolving Pokemon to just poke for 40 damage. You could pop a Choice Belt on something that does 10 damage, and oh look, now it does 40, now you get a 1-hit KO. Well, it's not really a 1-hit KO anymore, is it? It's a 2-hit KO. Automatic KO, let's use that phrase. I like this very much indeed. This is one I can get excited about. I'm giving it 4 Wassies. I like the VSTAR power far more than anything else. And the fact that it's an evolved Pokemon does make me think it's not going to be anywhere near as good a tech as Yveltal was. But I still think it's a very fun Pokemon with a lot of potential. But I want to know what you think. So let me know in the comment section, would you? Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing is always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.